isn't just about lawn care. The Grass Factor is about the science behind why we do what we do. But we are stewards of the environment. We are stewards of the planet. It is our responsibility. This is always one of my favorites. This is going to be a complete and total grow-in of Bermuda grass. Again, about an acre. As you can see, lots of fescue in here, a little bit of Dallas grass, a little bit of Bermuda. This is going to be a lot of fun. We got a nice little patch of Bermuda here, a little bit in through here, some dry spots. Let me tell you why this is my favorite. Because it is so transformative. This is so transformative. So today I wanted to give you the tips on what it takes to turn something like this into a Bermuda playing field again. Okay, so let me start with number one. The first thing to do is get rid of the grasses that are undesirable. So in this particular instance, all the cool season grasses that are going to be growing in the ball field, it's time to get rid of them. There are several different options that you can use to remove cool season grasses from warm season turf. First, Celsius herbicide. Celsius is a mix of thiacarbazone, iodosulfuron, and dicamba. The three of those have a synergistic effect that is not only lethal to cool season grasses, it has several other grassy weeds on the label as well as broadleaf weeds. It's very broad spectrum. Another option would be Revolver. Revolver is forum sulfuron. It's very expensive, but it does a very, very good job of controlling our cool season grasses and warm season turf. That's primarily its design. It also has activity on things like goosegrass. In combination with Celsius, it has another synergistic effect that has quite a bit of activity on Dallas grass. Number three would be Monument herbicide. Monument is trifloxysulfuron. It has activity on both broadleaf and grassy weeds, cool season grasses, and warm season turf, but it is exceptional at controlling sedges. At the high rate, 15 grams to the acre, typically a single broadcast application is all that's needed to be applied for the course of the growing season. I tend to have better results when applied as a blanket application than as I do as a spot treatment or a zone treatment. Another would be sulfosulfuron, also known as Certainty. It's going to lack a little bit of luster and pizzazz and quick knockdown. Again, another product that's exceptional on sedges, lacks a little bit in the cool season grasses. Number five would be Katana. Do not remember the active in Katana, but it is another sulfonyl urea. Again, provides very, very quick knockdown of cool season grasses in warm season turf, and is also exceptional in terms of sedge control. So once we get rid of the cool season grasses, from that point, it's what do we do with what's left? When you make your blanket application to clean up the weeds, the cool season grasses, basically that gives you a blank slate. That gives you a brand new canvas to begin working with. You'll see exactly how much Bermuda exists on that field. So in this particular instance, I'll probably have 50% coverage of Bermuda grass. So at this point, I have to shift focus so much from killing, doing damage, into rebuilding the soil structure. So from there, it's a quick, immediate feed of nitrogen to get that Bermuda going as aggressively as possible on the front end. Now, you have to take into consideration, so you've got your Bermuda growing. When you're taking into consideration your soil types, so this field is grown on clay. This is native soil that this Bermuda grass is working on. Some fields may have a sand base. If you're dealing with a sand base, that's another issue to keep in mind. Sand is going to act differently. It's going to hold nutrients differently than clay-based fields will. This one is clay-based, so I tend to get a little bit better nutrient retention out of it. However, at this point, it's all about getting it to perk into the ground where it can be retained and stored successfully. So, in terms of your fertilizers, it's important to do things, to have cultural practices, to apply products to help move that material to be stored into the soil. So, for instance, it can be applied with your herbicide, or it can be applied in conjunction with your fertility. In this particular instance, I'm using a humic substance called dethatch, which is going to be used to digest a lot of the clippings. With me killing out as much of the fescue and ryegrass that's in this field, that dethatch will help digest all that dead plant material and turn it into organic material faster, recycling those nutrients that are inside those plants, recycling that organic matter back into food for that Bermuda grass that eventually will be running on there. Running into those spots. So it's creating a food bank, a nitrogen bank, storage bank in the soil for the existing turf grass that's left over. Moving forward from here out, every 2 weeks I'm going to be applying fertilizer here. I'll be applying it at a much lower rate than I am now. Right now I went out at a full pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. This is to juice it on that front end. Right now, well, we still got decently cool nighttime temperatures. Go ahead, juice it on the front end, and then spoon feed it from this point forward. So every 2 weeks, I'll be applying about 1/4 to 1/2 pound of N. I will also be applying a growth regulator. I'll be using T-Nex Trinaxapac methyl, which is the active ingredient that's in Primo Max. Again, by suspending that top growth, suspending that production of gibberellic acid, those plants aren't reaching to the light as much. Those nodes become much more condensed, tighter foliage, more compaction in terms of the amount of chlorophyll over leaf surface area, darker color, more vigorous lateral spread, shoot production, root production. So from that point forward, it's all about driving root depth and lateral spread. So I will shift my fertility program from just nitrogen into nitrogen, a little bit of potassium, and kelp. I'm going to use kelp. I'm going to use RGS, the humic and kelp combination, to drive root depth. So we have ammonium sulfate. We'll have potassium sulfate. In this instance, I may use muriate of potash just for budget constraints. So I'll have potash, nitrogen, ammoniacal nitrogen. I will have RGS for root depth, T-Nex, Trinaxapac methyl, growth regulator for lateral spread and minimize the top growth. And that should carry me through the rest of the season. And hopefully, just hopefully, by the time September rolls around, we'll have 90 to 100% coverage where we can seed perennial ryegrass into it and we'll be good to go. It'll have a much truer playing surface than this mix of fescue, Kentucky 31 fescue, tall fescue, ryegrass, and Bermuda grass. The softball does not roll very true. The playability just isn't there with this current turf condition. Improving that turf condition gives you a much more accurate playing surface. There's less unpredictability that takes place with the ball roll as it moves across the outfield. So I'll keep you up to date as it goes along, but I wanted to give you the tips I use, the tricks I use to grow in fields that are these halvesies between warm season and cool season fields. Hope y'all liked the video. Y'all take it easy. If it doesn't rain, I'm gonna be so mad. Look at that. It's raining over there. Those are low clouds coming in. It looks like rain in the hills behind the house. Oh, please, Lord, bring on the rain. Oh, I feel it. I feel it. Yay! Yes! 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 Woo! Here it comes! Ah, it's beautiful! It's beautiful! Time to go in. Man, am I excited to see that.